Today's story: Abandoned House. In a small village on the edge of the mountains, there is an old house that has been abandoned for many years. Villagers often whisper about this place, telling scary stories about ghosts and whispers echoing in the night. From a distance, the house looks once majestic with mossy brick walls and cracked tiled roofs. But now, it is just a relic of the past. One day, a group of four friends, Min, Lon, Hung, and Trang, decided to explore this house. They heard many fascinating stories about it and wanted to find out the truth. After preparing flashlights and cameras, they set out in the evening. When they arrived, the moonlight illuminated the shadows of the surrounding trees and rocks. The atmosphere became tense when they entered the house. The heavy door creaked as Min pushed it in, and inside, an unpleasant musty smell filled their noses. Inside, the house was dark with old objects, tables and chairs covered in dust, a cracked mirror reflecting the weak light from a flashlight. Your group decided to split into two groups to explore faster. Min and Hung went upstairs, while Lon and Trang stayed downstairs. As Min and Hung climbed the stairs, strange sounds began to erupt. It sounded like someone was walking around above. Hung smiled wryly, but Min looked worried. They headed towards the old bedroom, where there was a large bed and a sofa covered in dust. Suddenly, they saw a white shadow pass through the window. "Is there someone?" Min called out, but no one answered. They decided to examine more closely. When they opened the door, they seemed to see a woman in a white dress with long flowing hair, but it was just an illusion. The ghost faded before their eyes. Meanwhile, Lon and Trang stayed downstairs. The two girls discovered an old cabinet, and when they opened it, there were many old pictures inside. There was one painting in particular that caught their attention, a portrait of a woman with sad eyes. Lon felt something was wrong when looking at the eyes of the woman in the painting. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered and then went out. "Trang, help me," Lon exclaimed with a worried voice. But when she turned back, Trang had disappeared. Lon panicked and called Trang's name, but only received silence. She felt cold down her spine and decided to run upstairs to find her friends. She got there, where Min and Hung were standing and looking in surprise. "Find Trang," Lon said cheerfully. "She's not here." Min and Hung immediately helped Lon search, but there was no sign of Trang anywhere. Meanwhile, whispers echoed around them, getting louder and louder, making them feel like someone was watching them. They decided to call Trang, but no one answered the phone. A gloomy feeling prevailed, making all three people feel that something was going very wrong. When they turned back in the hope of finding Trang, the darkness in the house became thicker. The windows were tightly closed and the eerie figures were bowed down as if they were being held back by an invisible force. "We have to leave here now," Hung suggested, his voice trembling somewhat. But when they were about to climb down the stairs, suddenly everything started shaking. The painting on the wall fell, the sound of glass shattering was heard, and a fog came from somewhere to cover the whole house. In panic, they decided to run out, but there is no way out. The main door seems to be locked tightly. They have no choice but to search for Trang among the house's ghosts. Searching forever, they finally discovered a small door leading to the basement. The cold atmosphere made them shiver. They went down there and found Trang sitting curled up in a corner, her face pale and her eyes wide open as if she had seen something horrifying. "Trang, what's wrong with you?" Lon asked, but Trang just shook her head. There was a woman. She didn't want me to leave. Suddenly, a laugh rang out from the darkness. Min, Hung, Lon, and Trang turned around. Where the shadow of the woman in the painting appeared, her face full of mourning and her eyes gloomy. She pointed at Trang. Her eyes seemed to convey a deadly message. "We have to go now." Min cried out and pulled Trang to her feet. They ran frantically towards the door, but the ghosts began to raise dark arms, trying to hold them back. When they finally reached the door, Min used all his strength to push it open. Light shined in from outside, and the ghost of disappointment disappeared into nothingness. They rushed out without looking back. When they returned to the village, they did not dare tell the story to the people. The house still stands there, silently waiting for other curious people to explore. As for the four friends, they know that there are things that they should not and do not need to learn about. But sometimes, on moonlit nights, they felt like eyes were watching from that abandoned house. And they couldn't forget the woman in the white dress, forever lurking in the dark.
Today's story is over. Thank you for listening. If you find the video good, please give me a like and subscribe to our support channel. Thank you.